I stumble back, begin to run away as my fear catches in my throat, emerging as a strangled cry. I alternate between turning around and glancing back over my shoulder, desperate to escape, but unwilling to let the thing out of my sight. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-3166. SCP-3166 is a 2.1 meter tall humanoid entity, presumed pataphysical in nature, known to manifest during periods when the Garfield media franchise is performing poorly in terms of public reception. The exterior layer of SCP-3166's body resembles a crudely made costume of the character Garfield, which field inspection has shown to be composed of legitimate cat fur. However, analysis of SCP-3166's composition in the field has shown that its interior mass is composed entirely out of pasta, specifically lasagna. SCP-3166 will appear in the vicinity of a suitable individual, hereafter referred to as the target, and move towards their location. Known targets of SCP-3166 have included individuals prominently involved in rival media to the Garfield franchise, individuals formerly involved in the production of the Garfield comic strip, individuals involved in parodies of the Garfield franchise, vocal critics of the Garfield franchise, and last but not least, Garfield creator Jim Davis. This has only occurred on occasions where the negative reception Garfield was receiving could be traced back to Mr. Davis's poor management of the franchise. Upon reaching its target, 3166 will attempt to inflict bodily harm upon them through a mixture of blunt force using nearby objects and force-feeding of lasagna. The lasagna was obtained through self-disembowelment. During this process, SCP-3166 will vocalize by meowing, purring, and screeching in the manner of an extremely agitated cat. Lasagna outside SCP-3166's mass has proven to be an effective form of bait for 3166. Upon seeing the lasagna, SCP-3166 will abandon its original goal and instead attempt to incorporate the pasta into itself. SCP-3166 first manifested on the 23rd of October 1989 within the Chicago offices of United Media, who were the publishers of the Garfield comic strip at the time. Upon manifestation, 3166 wandered around the offices in a confused and distressed manner, before indiscriminately assaulting any individuals present after security attempted to apprehend it. It disappeared 20 minutes later. Foundation agents responding to the situation distributed amnestics as appropriate. Over the course of the following week, similar manifestations took place at several United Media offices around the country, ending on the 29th of October 1989. Following that date, 3166 altered its behavior to its current form. The week of Garfield comic strips below, beginning on the 23rd of October 1989, was believed to be its pataphysical awakening. Day 1, the 23rd of October 1989. Garfield woke up from a sleep and felt an eerie sensation. As he was walking out of his room, he did not feel right, as if the place was not his own home. Day 2, the 24th of October 1989. He felt lonely because the house was empty. John was not home, and so was Odie. Day 3, the 25th of October 1989. Garfield thought to himself, John must be at the grocery. There was a for sale sign outside of his house, and the house looks like it had been abandoned for a long time. Day 4, the 26th of October 1989. Garfield had the shock of his life. If the house had been abandoned for a long time, it means that he has not lived there for many years. Day 5, the 27th of October 1989. Garfield welcomed John and Odie, and they brought home his food. However, this was entirely Garfield's imagination. Garfield grappled with his greatest fear, loneliness. Day 6, the 28th of October 1989. This strip started with a drawing of a horrified eye, and it wrote, "After years of taking life for granted, Garfield is shaken by a horrifying vision of the inevitable process called time." Garfield cried out, "I don't want to be alone." At the corner end of the comic strip wrote, And imagination is a powerful tool. It can tint memories of the past, shape perceptions of the present, or paint a future so vivid that it can entice or terrify, all depending upon how we conduct ourselves today. Initially, individuals involved with production of Garfield comic strips claimed to have no memory on working on that week's strips. All researchers working on 3166 Containment are to familiarize themselves on this material. Using tissue samples taken by Agent Mueller during SCP-3166's most recent manifestation, genetic analysis of the meat present within the lasagna has shown it to be genetically identical to Garfield creator Jim Davis. The implications of this are currently unclear. However, during surveillance of Mr. Davis by containment teams, he has complained of severe mosquito bites in the night, on a number of occasions immediately preceding 3166 manifestation. In order to contain 3166, the Garfield media franchise is to remain active and successful for as long as feasibly possible. Funding is to be provided to any Garfield media ventures via foundation front companies present in the comic and film industries. Agents embedded within Paws Incorporated, which is the sole owner of the rights to Garfield, and Andrews McMeel Syndication, primary distributors of the Garfield comic strip, are to place targeted mimetic agents in outgoing comic strip, encouraging the retention of a sizable Garfield fan base, and discouraging Jim Davis from discontinuing Garfield. Agents are to monitor individuals at significant risk of attack from 3166. In the event of a 3166 manifestation, agents are to use supplied frozen lasagna to lure 3166 away from its target and dispatch it once out of public view. Any witnesses are then to be administered amnestics as appropriate for their level of exposure. The below article is an associated tale written by I Am the Oga on the 30th of August of 2018. I walk down the street on my way home after a long night. It's not yet fully raining, but there's still a slight drizzle about. I put on my waterproof jacket, but while it keeps me dry, it does nothing against the chill of the quiet night air. The office wasn't a pleasant place today. Apparently, the strip isn't doing so well, and the numbers are going down. Being a new hire is rough. I cannot say that the fading popularity surprises me. It's been the same stale strip for years now. But apparently, some investors were really upset. Some suits were prowling around today, asking questions and taking names. I stopped for a minute, pulling out my phone to confirm a sneaking suspicion. Yep, I went the wrong way. I shouldn't be anywhere near the park. It is easy to get lost in the rain. I sigh and turn around, resigning myself to another miserable 10 minutes of slogging through the rain. There is a figure in front, standing quietly under the street lamp. I stop again, mildly unsettled by this. I call out to him, asking if he is okay, but no response comes. Instead, the figure begins to plod forward, taking a step into the light. The baggy suit slumps and sags with each step. The matted orange fur too dirty to be slicked down by the rain. The lazy-eyed face is at an angle, crudely propped up upon the head, swaying as it advances. The tail drags in the puddles, only adding on to the stains already coating it and the rest of the body. It raises the old baseball bat it carries, picking up speed. I stumble back, begin to run away as my fear catches in my throat, emerging as a strangled cry. I alternate between turning around and glancing back over my shoulder, desperate to escape, but unwilling to let the thing out of my sight. It thumps the bat against the fence as it runs, sickening thwacks sounding with each blow. Too focused on the beast, I did not avoid the puddle, and my foot slides out from under me, sending me crashing to the ground. As the world whirls around me, seeing nothing but darkness and rain, a low, agonized meow sounds from above me, immediately followed by a crushing blow to the hip. I scream out in pain, but as I gasp for breath, a horrible, wet, tearing noise fills the air, accompanied by another guttural screech. Then, a dripping, slimy mass is slammed into my face, and my monstrous assailant begins forcing fistfuls more down my throat. Man, I hate Mondays.
Stop! No!
greatest thing to ever happen to a cartoon show. These anomalies bring nothing but pain and suffering to this world.
Help!
So feeble, so weak. The GOC has done nothing to advance humanity's fight against the supernatural. Well, everything's gonna change with this.
Stop! Found you. Here, kitty kitty. Don't you want this? It looks very yummy, doesn't it?
As far back as I can remember, I'd always wanted to kill them all.
Watch out!
Powerless. I couldn't do a single thing to save my mother.
Darling! Darling, speak to me! No! Son, run.
I was ready to accept my fate. I couldn't live in a world where these monsters run rampant. It was hell on Earth. Then, gunfire, brighter than the flames, rained down on the monsters, like angels culling demons with their holy lances.
Let none survive.
They showed me the way forward, the light to my darkness. The tool to keep on surviving, my reason for living.
You've got guts, kid. I can see the fire in your eyes. The GOC could always use someone like you in our ranks.
I was recruited right there and then. I faced countless anomalies in my mission against the paranormal. And I've slain them all. They don't belong in this world. But the more I kill, the less things changed. Nothing but empty glory and empty platitude.
What's wrong, Salem? Don't like your medal?
There's got to be more than this.
What do you mean?
This is nothing! Shiny medals, a nice pat on the shoulder. Seriously? What about our goal? What about advancing humankind? Isn't that what we're fighting for?
Look, you're doing great work here, kid. Keep at it, and soon enough, you'll work your way up to command.
No, I don't care about any of that. This isn't why I joined the GOC. I wanted a better future for man. A future free of those freaks out there.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but trust me, when you get to my position,
I don't give a damn. So far, we've done nothing but waste bullets and resources, and to what effect? We need to do something big, something to wake up the masses.
here, a new mission. An anomaly known for hunting down anyone who says anything bad about Garfield.
The hell? Such a thing exists?
We've been keeping an eye on this one for quite some time, but it's become more active recently due to poor reception of the comic.
You sure it ain't just some guy in a fursuit? One of them weird hobbyists?
I wish, but no, it's a through and through paranatural threat. Christ. Imagine getting killed by a cartoon cat just for mentioning something bad about it. Bad day to be Egbert.
Who?
Roger Egbert. Some guy who's very critical about all things pop culture. Runs a blog that does nothing but whines and moans about movies made for nerds. Your typical hoity-toity film critic. Recently, it published a piece criticizing Garfield, making him a prime target. Find Garfield before it finds Egbert. Swoop in, kill it, save the day. It goes without saying, keep a low profile on this op. Isolate the target, then take it out. Remember, keep it out of public sight. Understood?
All right, guys, SCP-3166. You have no idea how alone you are, Garfield, or better known as Gorefield. This, adorable fluff ball is our main objective today. We've tracked it to a nearby city. Our mission is to lure it somewhere safe, then contain it. And I've got just the bait for it.
All right, let's move in quickly before we attract more attention.
Stand down. We wait.
What? If we don't intercept it now, it'll be out in the open, and everyone will see it. It'll be a media nightmare then. We're moving in, now!
Stay down! Ignorant fools. Right on cue. The world must know the threat that's hunting us in the dark, and learn how weak and helpless we really are in their eyes. But I'll show them. I'll show them that we can fight for our future and kill them all. World, be my witness and take a stand with me. Yeah! Do your worst.
Stop! You'll kill it at this rate. We need to contain it, not kill it. We gotta go after him. Come on! Stay put. We got this.
As if.
That's right. Come here, kitty. I made this just for you. Whoa! Ow! Stop.
I've had enough of this charade. Die, monster!
That's some good lasagna. Aw, you poor thing. That was not pleasant, wasn't it? Poor thing woke up one morning in his home, but something felt off. It called out to John and Odie, but he was all alone. It looked out the window and saw only a rundown lawn, just like the house. It went to the kitchen, and finally, he saw John and Odie eating at the table. "Hello, Garfield. Have some food," John invited warmly. But as Garfield got closer, everything faded off into dust. It was nothing but an illusion. The kitchen was empty and shabby. There. Yeah, I know. I feel you, cat. Say, why don't you come back with me so we can have more lasagna together?
SCP personnel found A6 began acting increasingly unsettled, rapid and shallow breathing, aversion to light, and increased in body temperature. It began violently tearing at its skin. It displayed a considerable amount of distress upon realizing its skin was sloughing off, but appeared unable to stop until its head were detached from its body. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you a SCP Foundation Keter class object, SCP-939. SCP-939, also known as With Many Voices, are endothermic pack-based predators. The skins of 939 are highly permeable to moisture and translucent red. 939 averagely are 2.2 meters tall when standing upright. and weigh an average of 250 kilograms, though weight is highly variable. Each of their 4 limbs end in 3-fingered claws, with a 4th opposable digit, and are covered in seta, which considerably augment climbing ability. Their heads are elongated, devoid of even vestigial eyes or eye sockets, and contain no skull. The jaws of 939 are lined with red, faintly luminescent fang-like teeth. Their teeth can grow up to 6 centimeters. Eye spots sensitive to light and dark run the length of their spine dorsal ridges. These spines may be up to 16 centimeters long and are believed to be sensitive to changes in air pressure and flow. 939's respiratory system is atrophied, but they can exhale minute traces of an aerosolized Class C amnestic, which designated as AMN C227. AMN C227 causes temporary anterograde amnesia, inhibiting memory formation for the duration of exposure, plus an average of 30 minutes. It is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. It has been reported that after being separated from the environment full of AMN C227, subject will have sensations of disorientation and mild hallucination. Subject is usually killed with a single bite to the cranium or neck. Bite forces have been measured in excess of 35 MPa. 939's primary method of luring prey is the imitation of human speech in the voices of prior victims, though imitation of other species in active nocturnal hunts have been documented. They have been documented imitating victims' voice despite never hearing the victim speak. SCP-939 vocalizations often imply significant distress. Whether 939 understand their vocalizations or are repeating previously heard phrases is the subject of ongoing study. Analysis of 939 vocalizations cannot distinguish between 939 and samples of known victims' voices. The use of biometric voice recognition security or identification systems at any installation housing 939 is strongly discouraged for this reason. A log of radio traffic between capture teams during their initial contact with 939 was transcribed and documented. In the initial contact between the capture team and 939, 3 subordinate fire teams, Trapper 1, 2, and 3, were sent out to the outskirts for an inspection following the disappearance of a Foundation field agent. After moments of inspecting the area, Trapper 1 reported to on-scene commander that they smelled something rotten, and they also found some shredded clothing. While Trapper 1 was about to head back up, they heard someone calling for help. According to the transcript of radio traffic, it seems that 939 imitated the human voice and successfully lured Trapper 1. Unfortunately, Trapper 1 was annihilated, and finally, Trapper 2 and 3 had to use large VX gas bombs to control 939. SCP-939 have no apparent physiological need to feed, nor any way to digest consumed tissue. Ingested material typically accumulates in the respiratory system of SCP-939 and is regurgitated once the amount is sufficient to markedly inhibit its function. Despite the absence of many vital organ systems, SCP-939 are capable of bearing live young. According to the documents, one of the 939, named SCP-9391, gave birth to 6 specimens following a gestation period of roughly 12 months, numbered SCP-939-A1 to SCP-939-A6. 939-A1, A4, and A5 were male, while A3 and A6 were female. SCP-939-A2 was stillborn and immediately cannibalized by SCP-9391. When the Foundation personnel took its offspring away from it, it did not show any resistance. 4 of the newborns were dissected by the Foundation personnel and found no difference between these newborns and human infants. Only 939-A6 was kept for observation as it matures. On September 1, 2001, personnel found A6 began acting increasingly unsettled, rapid and shallow breathing, aversion to light, and increased in body temperature. A6 was then transferred into a reinforced concrete containment cell. 939-A6 immersed itself in the provided water basin. Minutes later, it was transferred and remained motionless for about 41 hours, at which point it began violently tearing at its skin. It displayed a considerable amount of distress upon realizing its skin was sloughing off, but appeared unable to stop until its head were detached from its body. It appeared morphologically identical to, albeit much smaller than, SCP-9391. After the incident, SCP-939-A6 was renumbered as SCP-939-101 and then transferred to Bioresearch Area 12 for further study. SCP-939-101 is now dismembered, and it's stored in cryogenic preservation tanks. But these tissue fragments are still not dead, and sometimes they will ramble and flee for release.